Hello, friends, clients, people of the internet. I hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Justin Wolfer, creator of Mobility for Life. This video is going to break down 4 breathing techniques to develop a map of what you are trying to facilitate with conscious breathing, as well as to develop sensitivity to your breathing so that you can facilitate optimal breathing. And so, as many of you know that have practiced with me before, we do a lot of tactile exercises as well as visualization. And again, this is with the intent to improve your awareness and your understanding of what it is that you are trying to facilitate for optimal breathing. So the first exercise, it's been quite funny doing this with my clients. Smell my finger. You're going to bring your finger to the base of the nose. And the reason for this is, number one, that you can start to become aware of your breathing, and you can use that as a mechanism to take your focus from some problem or worry that may be out of your control to present moment awareness. So the breath is the easiest way to facilitate present moment awareness because you're always breathing. It brings you in the room, it centers you, it makes you present. And a good place to place your focus is at the base of the nose, following the flow of air in and out through the nose. So now that you're paying attention to your breathing, we can start to consciously take control of the breathing. And there are only 2 ways in general that you can take control of the breathing. You can breathe harder, faster. And I like to compare this to, if you've ever seen a child do a temper tantrum, you know that they're getting revved up and they're ready to blow, so to speak. But by breathing harder, and you can feel this, so take a few breaths where you're sucking in air. You are going to start to elevate your stress levels into your sympathetic system, your fight or flight system. So that is similar to when you are sprinting, because you are doing something at such a high stress level that your breathing accommodates that activity. So you can't sprint forever because your breath will not be able to keep up with that pace, nor your muscles. And another example of this would be like a cold water plunge, where all of a sudden you're plunged into a stressful situation. And the first couple of breaths are going to be, and so you can feel that when you are trying to pull in more air. And again, if you're in a stressful situation, an emergency situation, your brain will unconsciously do this. It's a stress response that you start to pull in more air and you blow out the CO2, right? And trying to get rid of that. And so the other direction that you can influence your breath is by breathing softer, slower, lighter. And as many of you know that work with me, that's primarily how we want to breathe. And you can even, I would say, only in those kind of situations where you're sprinting, you're full out, is it necessary for you to do this. And when you stop sprinting, which is one of the exercises that I use breathing, what I call breath recovery, when you stop sprinting, you immediately want to start to soften and slow down your breathing to the degree that you can recover from stress more and more efficiently. And so you can feel now the breath is soft, steady, and slow versus the breath being hard, uneven, and fast, right? And so we are observing this at the base of the nose. You can feel it with the finger, and eventually through your practice of paying attention, you can sense it naturally, and it's a very calming feeling to sort of feel the air soft and smooth moving in and out of the body. body through the nose. That is exercise 1, the finger at the base of the nose. So exercise 2 is going to be mooing, not M-O-O, but M-E-W. And mooing is sealing the tongue to the top of the mouth. And so how we're going to find this placement of the tongue, first, you're going to say the word N, or the letter N, and you'll notice that your tongue touches a particular spot on the roof of the mouth, and that's going to be the spot where we're going to seal the tongue to the top of the mouth, where you say N, N, N. You'll seal the tongue. It's hard to talk while doing this. And then the next bit is that you're going to lift the back of the tongue up as high as you can. And when you do that, you'll feel your neck and throat muscles start to engage a bit. I actually think it's quite a nice feeling. It feels like, I'm sort of like, feel very, sort of aesthetically pleasing in that type of a tongue position, and actually has some unbelievable benefits and effects to your jawline, to your teeth. It might be a little late in the game to change your teeth, but back when we were breathing properly as a species, there were no crooked teeth. They look back at our ancestors, and they all had great teeth, which is a bit disappointing. And the purpose, the reason for this is the tongue lock, the mouth closed. So you want your lips sealed. There can be space between the teeth. You're not grinding your teeth. Mainly this is a pressurized sort of exercise. So when you're doing it actively, again, the mouth is closed. We're breathing through the nose. We've already established that. But now we are doing the tongue seal. All right, so again, it's N, 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 N. Find that spot and then lift the back of the tongue up, and you'll feel the neck, throat muscles start to engage, and that is mooing. And so this video also is accompanied by a document with some verbal instructions, as well as the benefits of all these exercises, the purpose behind them. Number 3 is going to be our diaphragm, and your diaphragm, we can lump with this posture as well. Is that if I were to put tape around the bottom of my rib cage and tape around my pelvic bowl, we want the tape to be relatively level and parallel, so that your rib cage is stacked over your pelvis. So sometimes you'll see a little bit of this, which I jokingly call Beyonce butt, and definitely we see quite a bit of this rounded shoulder position. The abdominal is crunched and all of that sort of stuff. And so optimally what we want is for the rib cage to be directly over the pelvis. And what this allows for is proper diaphragmatic movement, right? And I use the example of the diaphragm visually of imagining an umbrella opening. So on your inhale, the diaphragm is going to move down, but like the dome shape of an umbrella, it's also moving down, forward, out to the sides, and back evenly. And what that's doing is creating intra-abdominal pressure. Intra-abdominal pressure is what facilitates good posture. It facilitates both steadiness and ease within the body. So a lot of people think that you're supposed to use your core to have good posture, which it's absolutely not the case, that we don't want the rectus abdominis to be engaged while we're breathing, because it will inhibit the movement down of the diaphragm. And the opposite of diaphragmatic breathing, of breathing down, is breathing into the upper chest, the rib cage, so upper chest breathing. And so when you are properly breathing into the diaphragm, it opens the airway. And if the diaphragm does not move down, you don't have a lot of space in there. So we don't get that opening of the airways. Very, very important. So another way that you can feel the diaphragm is to come onto the back. I've seen this done with a book, something with weight. You're gonna rest it on the belly and then simply observing, you'll inhale down and you'll feel the movement down. You'll feel the movement up against the weight. You want to feel the movement into the sides. You want to breathe into the floor. So we're breathing into the back. And again, what we're trying to facilitate is that downward movement and then the dome-shaped movement of like the opening of the umbrella. So we're breathing into our pelvic bowl. That is number 3, is proper diaphragmatic breathing. Number 4 is Boyle's Law. So as I mentioned, is that when you are breathing correctly through your diaphragm, that you open the space. And what fills the space is the pressure differential between the in and the outside atmosphere. So similar to how weather patterns move. So you don't have to suck in air to get more oxygen. In fact, when you suck in air, you actually inhibit this process because, again, your muscles will start to squeeze and you won't be able to open the space. So the quality of our respiratory system is elasticity, like a balloon. So this final image I want you to visualize is a balloon. And so if I was to blow on a balloon, with this being the top of the balloon, the place where you would blow into, I'd blow the balloon up and the balloon would move down and it would move out, forward and back, again in that dome shape. And that would represent our inhalation, that we are opening this space in a soft, relaxed, elastic way, like a balloon inflates. And then on the exhale, with the exhale, if I was to take this balloon that was fully blown up and then push and squeeze all of the air out, the balloon would go, it would be fast and uneven. And so what we want to do on the exhalation is, again, facilitate this soft return of the diaphragm. And when the diaphragm is returning, it's closing the space and it's changing the pressure. And that will allow the exhale to come out soft and smooth. So this is particularly challenging when you are either exercising and your heart rate is up a little bit because you want to just blow out the CO2. And it's challenging when you are in a stress state. So one of the things that you want to remind yourself if you're feeling stressed, particularly on the exhale, is come back to this image of the balloon and letting your soft relaxation around the balloon allow the air to come out soft and smooth. And so we want the exhale to be longer than the inhalation. And the only way to facilitate a longer exhale is to be soft and relaxed. So I hope this was useful for you guys. As I mentioned, there is a document which I will place at the bottom of the description. I hope everyone is well, and I will see you sometime soon.